What does intuition feel like? This is a tough question, a little bit of a challenge, but I'm always up for a challenge. Let's dive in. Over the years, I've gotten a lot of questions. And the one question that really stands out for me is, what does intuition feel like? This is a big one. And when I get asked that question, my mind just instantly pops out 10,000 things to say because there's so much. It's so intricate. But in this session, let's just cover a few key facts. And I think it's going to help you to be able to navigate your own intuitive path with a little bit more success. Let's start with the one that is closest to my heart. Everyone is highly intuitive. Intuition is not a gift, it's an ability. And it's an ability that every single one of us has. The difference between someone who's opened up their intuition and is able to receive information and messages and an individual who struggles to use their intuition is clutter, right? Clutter and practice, those are the two things. We don't have to use our intuition in our day-to-day life. It's not required. So many of us just didn't or don't. I didn't up until the age of 32. It just wasn't something that I was putting in the forefront. So when you put your attention every day on your intuition, when you declutter those things in your life that are blocking your intuition, which is just as strong as the next person's, that's when you can access your intuition. That's when it can start to flow. And I start with this point when people ask me this question of what does intuition feel like? I start with this point because the person asking me that question is struggling to access their intuition. And they're witnessing other people do it with ease. And another barrier for many is that when someone who struggles to use their intuition is watching and witnessing somebody else use it with ease, we tend to forget that that person at one time also struggled and had to work at honing, putting their attention toward their intuition, decluttering what was blocking it. They did work toward that. And so we do tend to forget that. You see somebody who can pull out intuitive messages, anytime, anywhere, any day, right? And we think, oh, they were just born that way. We're all born that way. They've been focusing on it, daily or, a couple times a week or something like this. They've brought it into their natural day-to-day lives. And as a result of it, it's easier for them to be able to access it. So that's the first thing that I want to throw out there because I think it's really, really important. Now, the second thing, which is also key to answering this question, is everyone's intuition is different. Your intuition is going to be different than anyone else's, the way it comes through. And a block that can happen for a lot of us is if we try to tap into our intuition the same way somebody else does, we get blocked because we're not tapping into our intuition the way our intuitive channel is designed. So the next step in this, once you let go of the concept that you're not intuitive, once you let go of the concept that other people are more intuitive than you, and you realize you're just as intuitive, and you start to focus on it, the next step is to allow your intuition to open up and show you how it works. Be still, listen. I teach the whole course on this. If you haven't seen the Sage Method, this is my whole it's all the teachings, all the tools, all in one to help somebody completely open up their intuition and be able to really utilize it in their day-to-day. But one thing I love about that course so much is it touches on this point that it gives you the tasks and the tools and the knowledge to be able to figure out how your intuition uniquely works for you. That's really one of the biggest differences with the Sage Method course versus a lot of other intuitive courses is it helps you to kind of define your intuition based on how your intuitive channel is wired. So each person is going to be different. Some people are going to hear intuitive messages outside. Some people are going to hear them inside. Some people are going to see things outside of themselves, or they're going to see images or pictures inside their mind. Some people are going to feel. Some people are going to have that moment of like just knowing. Everyone has different ways that their intuition flows. Mine, for example, I am able to see and I'm able to hear. Every now and then I might, get a feeling, a physical feeling or an emotion or something like that, but mostly I see, and I see outside of myself, not within my mind. I see outside myself, and I hear within. I don't hear, exterior. Also, when people are developing their intuition, they tend to open up one sense first, and then a little bit later, another one will open up, and then they'll start to experience other ones. But for me, it really is mostly I see, and then my secondary strength, I would say, would be hearing. So keep that in mind. Don't try to do don't try to do a reading or tap in or use your intuition the same way somebody else does. Allow yourself to um, really participate in an intuitive journey, your own personal intuitive journey, by allowing your intuition to really kind of show you, oh, I just saw something I didn't expect to be able to see, or oh, I just heard something I didn't expect to be able to hear. That's really what you'll hear from somebody that is authentically opening up their intuition and walking down that spiritual path. When it comes to that moment when, we call it tapping in, when it comes to the moment where your intuitive channel opens up and information is coming through, what does that feel like? Okay. So we've decided that intuition is open for everyone, that everyone's channel, uses different senses. Some people can see, some people can hear, some people can feel. So the way I'll answer this question is this: it feels as if, the world falls away. It feels as if time, stands still. You lose that human connection with your environment and the space around you. You tend to almost sort of feels like you're falling into like a daze, or if you've if you've been driving, and please don't ever do this, but if you've been driving and all of a sudden you show up somewhere and you're like, wow, that went fast. That's what intuition feels like. When you are really, really tapped in very strongly to your intuitive channel and messages are coming through, you will lose track of time. And when you're really having a strong intuitive moment, you won't remember what you said, 3 words ago, and you don't know what's coming up next. You link in. It's like time disappears. So your brain stops thinking about what it's going to say before it's going to say it. Your mind stops, when you're really linked in very well, your mind stops trying to figure things out. And the intuition comes through is something that just happens, and you're participating with it. It's like getting on a bike and just riding the bike, and the whole world falls away, and you can feel your feet moving, right? You can feel your feet, spinning the pedals around, and you're aware of the fact that you're moving forward, but you're just really, really, really in the moment. So take the sentence, I'm in the moment, and add to that uh gentle and loving and, what's the word I want to use? Easy, sort of disconnect from what's going on around you. And you just sort of fall into your own space for a moment. And you're interacting, whether you're hearing or seeing or feeling your intuition, you're interacting with it. Your focus goes inward. And like I said, the world kind of falls away. I'm going to give you a task to start feeling your intuition, because really, to focus on what does it feel like yourself, that's going to start to open it up further and further and further. So this is what I want you to do. 5 minutes a day. I want you to find a space where where you won't be bothered. No one's going to interrupt you. There's not a lot of distractions. And I want you to sit 4 or 5 feet away from a blank wall. And I want you to put your gaze at a point in between you and the wall, meaning don't let your eyes land on the wall. Look toward the wall, but allow your eyes to soften and defocus. So you're not looking at the wall, you're looking at the point in between you and the wall. So now with your gaze defocused, I want you to just relax and say, I'm open to however my intuition wants to come through. And create a mantra that's close to that, one that works for you, because that's when it really, really works the best, is when you create your own. But create a mantra of, I'm allowing my intuition to come through. I'm allowing my intuition to show me things. I'm allowing my intuition to deliver messages. And focus on your breath and focus on the act of defocusing. Let that room that you're in just sort of fade away into the background. Do this for like 5 minutes. Try it a couple times a week. Try it whenever you can. Do not get discouraged, if nothing happens, but stay open to any way that your intuition comes through. Let yourself be open to being surprised by how it presents itself in that moment. And mostly, oh, really, this is the best part. Please enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Doing these things, you'll start to feel what it feels like for your intuitive channel to open and for the world to sort of fade away and for the messages to start coming through. Before we wrap up, I'm going to put a link in here for the free course that we offer. It's called the Top 5 Intuitive Tools. In there, there's 5 tools. The first one, GCP, you should be doing that all the time. You hear me talk about it all the time if you follow this channel. But there's another tool in there called Defocus. Look at that tool. Check it out a little bit, because that's what I'm talking about right there. That's really what I've invited you to do today in this session, is to defocus. And when you do that, you'll start to feel your intuition. Okay, you have your defocus task. Remember to have fun and subscribe so you get future videos. One last thing, I think the next video that would help you a lot is the one on impatience. Applying the information in there is really going to help your intuition open.